What is up, guys and gals? This is Brandon Coin, and I am back with another little rig update or mining cave update video. Let me just turn this around right here and I'll show you what we're working with. I have the Octo Miner rig, which has 7 1050s and 1 1080. I'm going to be pulling that 1080 out of there, putting another 1050 in there because I have a new rig that I'm going to be building, and it's going to be housing the 1080s and also a 1070, but I'll be going more into that later on its own video. This is just going to be like a mining cave update video. I still have my AMD rig. It's got 3 560s and 1 580. I have another 580 coming for that machine. And then I still have my 1060 rig over there. Has 5 1060s and 1 1050 Ti. I need to get another 1060 and get that 1050 Ti off of there. But yeah, so currently, I gotta get that 1080 off and slam a 1050 in there, and I'll check back in when I get that done. Alright guys, so I put a Zotac 1050 in at the end of this, so now I'm not over stressing the 750 watt power supply that was running the system, because with that 1080 I had to keep it severely underclocked or it was going to be pulling too much wattage. So now this is now an 8x 1050 rig. I am going to be replacing that 1050 with a matching Gigabyte 1050 soon, so yeah, because I like it to be matching. But now I have this shelf over here and I'm going to set up the next rig on this shelf. So alright guys, the motherboard we're going to be using today is the Z270P-D3. It's a Gigabyte motherboard and it supports up to 7 graphics cards. The processor we're going to be using is a Celeron G3900. And it's a 1511 socket, and the RAM that I went with is the Viper 4 gig. Alright, and now this graphics card right here is what I was talking about. This is the superclocked EVGA 1070, and I want to give a really big shout out to WMX99. He's got a YouTube channel. He donated this, and also he gave away another one on his channel as like a pay it forward challenge. So I'm gonna have his link down below. Go check him out, and I think he's actually gonna be doing something similar. My first EVGA graphics card. So let me scoot around here. I'm sitting on the floor for y'all, sweating in my mining cave. Actually, it feels good right here because there's like a nice draft. This card was used and mined on, which I don't mind because I'm going to be putting it into the mines also. Let me see what I'm looking at. There we go. If you notice I'm a little sweaty, that's because I turned the AC off when I was trying to switch around power plugs, and it got really hot up here really fast. So I have the AC back off on and running now. Alright, so there it is, EVGA 1070 superclocked. This is a hefty card. Look at the cooler on that thing. So, 1 8-pin. It's got a back plate, EVGA. It's a good looking card though. Really good looking card. WMX, thank you again. It would be put to good use. So now guys, that means I will have a card to benchmark and give you readings on for a 1070. I know everybody's asked me like, oh my gosh, why don't you have a 1070 yet? And I'm like, I just haven't been able to get one. So now I got one. Well, it was donated, thank you. And so we'll put this thing to work. But yeah. So let's get this graphics card in and see what kind of hash rates it's doing. Alright, so the motherboard is the Z270, and the reason why I picked this motherboard is over the H110 D3A. That's what I had been using. I have 2 others of those, and they've given me no issues at all. But this motherboard, if I can get it out of the bag, there we go. This motherboard, right out of the gate, supports if you look over here, 3 full-size PCI Express slots. And what that means is you can put 3 graphics cards straight to the motherboard without needing risers. So you can actually build out a system really fast and really cheap. And then when you want to upgrade to more graphics cards later, then you can build them up to risers. And this does support 7 graphics cards, whereas the H110 D3A only supports 6. So solid motherboard, link will be down below in the description. I got these on sale for 80 bucks, or it was like $83 or something. I don't know what they're going for right now, but hopefully they're still a good deal. So snatch one of these up while you can. Now let's go on to the processor. Alright, so the processor is the Celeron G3900. I have not used one of these before, but I've used its big brother, which is the G4400 Pentium. And for running, I'm running it on Simple Miner, so it really won't matter because I'm not going to be mining on the processor. And these are just really cheap, 2-core, like dual core, nothing special. There's no hyper threading or anything like that, just really basic processor. And link will be down below in the description for this, and it does come with a CPU cooler. I got mine on sale for like $37, so solid deal. I mean, you really can't beat it. A brand new processor that's current generation for under 40 bucks. So I'm gonna slam this thing into the motherboard, and yeah, we'll get to cooking. Alright, so the processor's in the motherboard and the heatsink is mounted on there. If you want to know how to do that, just YouTube it. Type it in the top, how to mount a processor and a motherboard, because it's super simple and it's really intuitive. This one's just like a little clamp thing, no big deal. Now, as for the RAM, we're running the Patriot Viper DDR4. Nothing special, 4 gigs of it. I picked this because it's like $2 more than the cheapest RAM, and it looks really cool. Hold on. If I can get it out of the box. There it is. Bam! Look at that. It's got a snake on it. It's got like a metal heatsink. You can't mess with that. $2 extra for the heatsink. That is worth it. Extra hash rates right there. Hold on. Oh, and it comes with a sticker. That's where it's at, guys. Link for that down below in the description also. Alright, now for my power supplies to run the system, I have a 500 watt power supply that's going to feed the motherboard and the PCI slot, or PCI Express, for one of the graphics cards. And then the additional graphics cards I'm going to be adding are going to be off of this HP 750 watt server power supply. And the breakout board was courtesy of Jason King. Thank you again, Jason. He sent that in. So actually, a lot of donated stuff is going into this rig. But yeah, so he works over at Parallel Miner. He is not the owner. He bought and paid for this breakout board himself. But if you want to go over there and check it out, Parallel Miner's got a lot of cool stuff. And these breakout boards exactly have the little voltage readout, and they have a power button, and they're made in America. So yeah. But that's what's going to feed the other graphics cards and eventually risers, and it's got plenty of room to grow out. So I'm going to go ahead and plug in, and it looks like this system is going to have 1080 MSI gaming right away, and then the EVGA 1070 super clock. So let's get this thing going. Alright, so the current setup is, this is the 500 watt power supply that's going to be feeding the motherboard and the motherboard power for both of these cards, and it's only going to be feeding the PCI Express for the 1070. The additional 750 watt gold power supply is going to be feeding the PCI Express for the 1080 and the additional cards that I end up adding onto it. This one's ramping up over here. Let me give it a little air. So I'm getting ready to plug these in, but I forgot I need to go grab the USB thumb drive for Simple Miner. Alright, so here's the current situation. I got 500 watt, 750 watt, 1080, 1070. Everything's plugged in, 4 gigs with the Celeron processor. Got my little USB right up underneath here, and then got the LAN cable. I'm running this on Simple Miner or SMOS. So everything's plugged in and running. If anybody wants to know how to get the 750 watt actually like working with a 500 watt or an ATX style power supply, all I did was I powered the system on first, and then I plugged in the server power supply because it auto turns on. So let's go downstairs and see what it's doing. Alright guys, so I'm back. I actually ended up losing that footage that you just watched earlier. So this is a couple days later, and I've added now another 1080. So the rig has two 1080s and one 1070. And it's right here. I'm calling it's the 1080 1070 rig for right now. I have it on nice hash equihash at the moment, and we are pulling about almost 1,500 sols total. It looks like the 1080s are getting about 500, and that 1070 is getting like 460. I do have them underclocked to, I think it was 120 watts. So for the 1070, that's letting the 1070 eat, but the 1080s, they're held back a little bit. That is due to me having some power constraint issues upstairs. I was kicking some breakers and just not having a good time. So I've actually got in touch with my girlfriend's dad. He's a licensed electrician, and he is going to help me rerun some lines up there. And also, he looked in my box, and I have 3 20-amp breakers that are completely unused, or well, they're open spots that are just covered up that we can add breakers into, so I can add 60 amps more of power upstairs and keep expanding my farm. Now I want to do a little sneak peek right here. Got a little sneak peek. Yep. Oh, there it is. That's the next video coming out right there. Got some more graphics cards in the mail. So just keep a lookout, and we'll be back. I'll see y'all on the next one. Adios.